One of my favorite media genres is cyberpunk. I like all of the aspects of it, the technology, the philosophical themes, the kitschy neon aesthetics. It's just a really cool and over-the-top projection of our fears of what the future might look like, or is already becoming. Though there is one thing about the cyberpunk genre that I really thought was cool, and that's all of the flying vehicles. There's always a scene in a movie or game in this genre where the character sort of flies through the city in their hover car, and you get a nice view of the giant ad-covered city. I don't know about anyone else, but I've always wanted to fly one of these bastards around the towering skyscrapers for myself. Except most cyberpunk games aren't about flying a damn car around the city. They don't even offer it as a peripheral gameplay feature. For those of you demanding satisfaction, there's a little game called Cloudpunk. This game actually is about flying a damn car around the city, and boy does it tickle the Pop-Tarts. Cloudpunk, created by Ion Lands, came out in 2020. 2022 if you're on PS5, so it's not brand new or anything, yet it's one of the very few cyberpunk genre games that actually lets you pilot one of its most visible traits. So in Cloudpunk you play as Rania, an immigrant to the city of Nivalis from the Eastern Peninsula. Nivalis is your typical cyberpunk city, except this one must have gotten screwed by climate change since it's in the middle of the freaking ocean. Of course, you have very little money when you start. In fact, early in the game, Rania says she was run out of her original home by debt corps, so you'll be working for a delivery company called Cloudpunk to make ends meet. Your boss is this quirky old guy who I can't tell if he's on my side or what he's hiding, but he's f***ing hiding something. So delivering packages between A and B, sometimes C, is going to be the bulk of the gameplay. A lot of this game is also driven by dialogue. Get it? Driven? Because you drive in the game. You'll meet a lot of interesting characters with all sorts of wacky things to say. There's also no combat, so it's a pretty relaxing and easygoing game because of this. The game uses voxel graphics, which are 3D pixels for anyone that wasn't aware. I sure wasn't. I really like all of the quirky, cute little storefronts. It reminds me of Minecraft when I try to build cities in creative mode. It's kinda odd though, since some of the scaling is off. For example, there's some doors that are smaller than the pedestrians, but that's just me nitpicking, that's not important. I wouldn't think this graphical style would work with this setting, but obviously I'm wrong. I actually like these sort of simpler graphics. It kind of time-proofs the game by not loudly declaring, "These are the best graphics ever!" Yes, best graphics at the time. It also shows that fancy graphics don't necessarily make a game good. Especially if fancy graphics are gonna break the fucking game. Anyway, there's ads everywhere, food stands check, and of course loud, cheery corporate announcements.
Safeguard immunizations, everything your baby's body needs, from disease prevention to neural implant iris protection.
Yes, they do a really good job at creating the atmosphere. I just kind of wish the people walking around would mumble a random line or two as they walk by. But that's just a weird personal want. I think, and not to make everyone roll their eyes, but I think the voice acting at some points can get a tiny bit cheesy. Mainly just the side characters.
Ma'am, what is this?
I don't know, I found it. I think it might be...
Give it to me, now.
Yes, I was just going to. I came to you.
Is this some kind of scam?
You know what? I'm just going to leave.
What does this button do?
I don't know, I can't even really give them shit for this. My voice acting is at -5 on a great day, so no, I can't do it better and I should just shut up. Despite my critique of the voice acting, I actually really like the dialogue itself. It's always casually dropping hints about the state of the world around you, life in Nivalis, or Rania's life in an interesting way.
Maybe one day they'll seize the means of production down there.
Oh, you are witty. The production of mold burgers and rat salad. No offense, dear.
Yeah, none taken.
I'm gonna put you down for one, and I even got a discount for you, because I love you people from out in the East. You know, with the music and that funny thing you do with the chanting. Beautiful.
I don't get the feeling that the game is spoon-feeding me the story. I kind of have to, pay attention to understand it. But I mean, like I said, all of the gameplay consists of you delivering packages and listening to people talk to you, so paying attention shouldn't be too much of an issue. When people talk, there's these cool little portraits next to the text boxes, and for something small, it really adds to the character's personality. This is great since otherwise the characters all look like generic block people. Not that they don't look good or have variation, it's just dark and rainy so the picture helps the player visualize the person speaking. Those facial augmentations on their faces look cool as crap. So this is a driving game. Well, really more of a flying a car game, yeah? Unlike many other cyberpunk stories, flying vehicles aren't just for transporting rich people between places. Considering the city is on top of the ocean, it's the only way to get around. This means there's a fair bit of traffic in Nivalis. Traffic that you would be wise to avoid. Don't crash your vehicle, which is actually provided by the Cloudpunk company, or you have to pay a fee to repair it. It won't break your wallet, but that first time that you repair your car and pay a fee, you realize that you can't be stopping at a mechanic and shelling out 80 to 150 limbs every few miles. Yeah, the money is called limbs, deal with it. Makes me think of Rayman's Lums. There's actually an achievement for not hitting anything. At least you don't have to stick to the roads, you can just cut between the buildings. By the way, the city is pretty big too. They separate Nivalis into different chunks, but each chunk is fairly sizable, so there's plenty of room to cruise around in your hover car. The car itself, called a HOVA, which stands for Hyper-Orthographic Vehicle Anti-Grav. Just kidding, it doesn't stand for anything. Anyway, your HOVA is really cool. It handles really smoothly-ish. It also uses fuel, so every now and again you'll need to take your HOVA to a fuel station. There's an option to go into first person in the car and look around. The HOVA has a very nice 80s futuristic vibe, lots of... I'm not really sure what this is called, but it's all anyone could come up with in the 80s before colorful user interfaces and flat touchscreens were rolled out. Here's a few more examples from other media. This, in my head, really brings out that sort of classic cyberpunk aesthetic. You can also get out of the HOVA and walk around at certain areas where there's parking. Here you have a choice of playing in either third or first person perspectives, or a third option that gives a nice 2.5D perspective, like you're in a shoebox. There's also loot on the ground, and it's helpfully marked on the map, but I kind of keep missing it anyway, which is fine since it's mostly just vendor junk with no other use but selling it. Which brings me to the inventory. It feels a bit clunky to be honest. It's just kind of disorganized. Like, it doesn't sort items into categories. You just have your consumables, car upgrades, key items, and outfits all thrown into a matrix of boxes. Oh yeah, you can buy clothes from vendors, but not much difference. The items are a little forgettable as well. I don't really drink this juice thing, even though it keeps getting mentioned in the story. Maybe I'm playing the game wrong? I don't know, everything I pick up gets sold. So as far as I could tell, the only thing you'll really be buying is gas and upgrades to your HOVA, and maybe a piece of furniture for your place. The soundtrack is great, it's exactly what I'd expect a game of this genre to have. It's a mix of synthwave that varies in intensity. I prefer the calmer tracks, it tends to create an atmosphere very reminiscent of Blade Runner. Speaking of which, it's always raining. All the time. And it's nighttime. All the time. Well, actually it's kind of hard to tell. Whenever you look up, you see these odd clouds blocking out the sunlight, so day or night, the overall vibe is night. Don't know when I should have mentioned this, but there's only one save slot. Starting a new game deletes the old one, which kind of sucks. What if someone else wants to play it? What if you missed something and need to replay a part? Shit out of luck, I guess. Please patch in a save system, guys. It's 2022, what the f*** are you doing? If you're wondering if this game is worth the asking price of $20, I'd say, yeah. Especially if you like story and delivering things between points A and B in a hover car. And synthwave. Like I said, totally worth it if you're into this sort of thing. Sometimes it goes on sale too for like $7. Then it's really worth the price for anyone. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Especially for being unique in gameplay. I really hope more games like this where you kind of cruise around in a flying car get made. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. I really appreciate all of those. And I'll see you all next time.